Good morning, Willow Springs. I'm Chase Hunke.
And I'm Abram Smith.
This is the Homeschooler's 8th period class, and the WSMS News starts now.
The holiday season is upon us, with lots of time off coming up.
Yes, no school next Monday and Tuesday, and then only a week until Thanksgiving break.
When we return, there are only 3 weeks until the Christmas break. Speaking of the holiday season, when is it too early to decorate for Christmas?
Some people put their lights up right after Halloween and skip Thanksgiving decor altogether.
We asked staff and students what they do.
And it's time to fall back on the clock this weekend. Will this be the last time?
Plus, posting perfect social media posts may be out. All this and more coming up on WSMS News.
Welcome back. This is Willow Springs News.
If you've been outside lately, you've noticed the leaves starting to change, and the air is so much crisper. Plus, we have a big time change coming up. Here's the weather crew tracking the forecast.
Thanks, guys. The weather this week was pretty calm, but today's weather isn't as calm as some thunderstorms are expected. The highs this week were in the 70s, keeping it slightly warm, but next week will be a little more chilly, with lows in 60s and the 50s. In other news, we will see the end of hurricane season by the end of this month, but for now, we have Hurricane Lisa on path to make landfall in Belize, maxing around 80-mile-per-hour wind speeds. Heavy rain and flooding will result from this hurricane. We also have Tropical Storm Martin in the Atlantic Ocean, but it shows no threat to any land. And don't forget, we'll get an extra hour of sleep this weekend, marking the end of daylight saving time. That means it gets darker earlier, like around 5 p.m. Some people love it, some people don't. WSMS's Copeland Patterson, Jocelyn Schuler, and Piper Sullivan report.
Our bodies are creatures of habit, and they like to do the same things every day. Routine is good.
This Sunday, November 6th, daylight saving time ends and Americans will once again turn their clocks back at 2 a.m. Going forward or backward an hour can disrupt the body's natural clock and cause a multitude of problems. Springing forward in the spring forces Americans to lose an hour of sleep.
I think people lose sleep when they're trying to adjust to the new time 2 times a year.
Many medical experts want to make daylight saving times permanent. Many studies show that losing just that 1 hour in spring can increase the risk of stroke, heart attacks, and even cause more traffic accidents. Some people can even suffer from depression because there is less daylight when we fall back.
When people have less daylight, then sometimes they have a more kind of depressed or sad mood. So I think if it does increase the number of hours of sunlight that we can enjoy per day, then that would be a positive thing.
To the floor here in a moment, you'll see it's an eclectic collection of members of the United States Senate in favor of what we've just done here in the Senate, and that's to pass a bill to make daylight savings time permanent.
The purpose of daylight savings would be to save daylight, I think, to give us more hours of sunlight.
A long time ago, they thought it would be a good idea that we would have more daylight hours and people would get up earlier. If you've noticed, it's really dark in the morning right now when we're getting ready for school. And so they thought if they moved it back and we'd have more daylight hours in the morning, that people would be productive and get more work done. But you have to remember that was when we were more of an agricultural society and people were working on their farms and out in the fields, and we're just not that society anymore.
You are more prone to getting depression, sadness, anxiety. It does affect our physical bodies because, like I said, our bodies are creatures of habit.
I thought it was interesting about more car wreck.
I think it's going to affect how long I sleep because the sun goes down earlier.
I don't like daylight savings because I lose time when I sleep.
I like it because it gets darker earlier, because I get to sleep longer.
I don't really like the time change either in the spring or the fall.
The U.S. Senate, with both Republicans and Democrats, approved the Sunshine Protection Act in March of last year and wanted this year to be the last time we switch the clocks. The House has yet to approve the bill, and it's still up in the air.
My circadian rhythm in my body has to get used to it.
Thanks for that report. I'm with Mrs. Prez on this one, as I also don't like it when it gets so dark early. That's it for your weather. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Ion. And now for our top story. To be clear, Day of the Dead is not Mexico's version of Halloween. Rather, it's a celebration that honors those who have passed. and it brings comfort to those left behind. Here's WSMS Alice Lee, Reed Boardman, and Natalie O'Donnell.